Greg Shoemaker, TriStateFootball.com and QueenCityHigh.com. Here with Andy Olds, head coach of the Kings Knights. And Coach, 2010 was a very good year, but 2011, expectations are high. Have you ever had a team with so much returning known commodities?
We have not. I have not. In 27 years, in fact, this is my 14th season as head coach and my 27th overall. I've never been a part of a team with this much coming back. So, two concerns going into this season, Greg. One was the complacency, and not so much for the kids, the 18 kids who supposedly have starting positions, but the kids who are number twos. And I've been pleasantly surprised that in the weight room it's been a battle. We've got some guys who are number twos that are going to take some spots from those 18 guys, and that's great news because we all know that iron sharpens iron. Looks like we're going to get Zach Bashir back out. Zach was a start as a sophomore, and then had a shoulder injury, took last year off. He's coming back next year, so that's going to help. We got a couple other guys maybe that might help us in the same form, but we do have a lot coming back. The other thing you kind of fight and worry about is entitlement, and that's the one thing we talked about at our banquet. We need to understand what entitlement means and say, you know what, everybody's got to work hard because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, obviously for the kids, but for our coaching staff. I mean, we've got a great opportunity, and, we've got depth. I mean, you got Jamire Westbrook, you got Collado. Nick Collado is going to shock Cincinnati this year, and then you got Brian Huffman. Just those three guys alone. Jensen Gebhardt, excited, offensive line's coming back. So, we're really, really excited. So I'm not going to lie to you. We're pretty pumped up.
Yeah, you talk about complacency, but one thing that I've talking to your kids, it seems like there is a hunger there, even though they lost in the regional championship game to Trotwood Madison. They seem to have saying, okay, yeah, that was just a step along the way. They seem pretty focused, aren't they?
Well, we have a huge sign in our weight room that says R803 ? And a lot of kids didn't know what that meant. And really what it means, Greg, is Region 8, we're 0-3. We've been to the regional finals the last 13 years 3 times and lost all 3 times. So then the question mark means what are you going to do to make sure we're not 0-4? So and every time it gets tough in there, we point to that sign, and they're reminded very quickly that they have an opportunity to do something that no one else at Kings has ever done before. So they're feeling it, and I think they're excited.
When you look at this as the last year of the FAVC, I want to ask you why the reason that they disbanded and what excites you about the new ECC Eastern Cincinnati Conference.
I really couldn't comment on why they disbanded. Believe it or not, everyone thinks that this conference would evolve around football. It's such a good football conference. FAVC and the new conference is really strong in football. But we don't have a lot to do with those kind of decisions. It goes even beyond the athletic directors. It's actually decided by the principals. So, but as far as what we had to look forward to in the new conference, you got Henderson, you got some great football teams and great rivals for us with Loveland and the such. So, the new conference is going to be challenging.
Do you think Lebanon will ever join that conference? Have you heard anything about that?
Lebanon early on had an invitation to come, and they countered with an invitation for us to go to the G-Walk. So we, kind of knew where they would stand. We think that would be a no-brainer for Lebanon, but they've got the reasons for staying in the G-Walk, and they do a great job over there. It's a great rivalry game. I don't know if we've ever had a natural rival for game one like we've had with Lebanon. And it went back years ago. It stopped for a while, and it's back up again. It'll be standing room only. And both teams could have nobody coming back. It'd still be standing room only. But now you've got what Sean Lamb's doing over there and what they got coming back and what we've got coming back. It's going to bring back some great memories.
One last question before I let you go. 2009 was a very difficult season for you. How do you feel now, and what's been the most rewarding part about getting back to this point?
You know what? And I told this story last week, I think, about someone asked me about 2009. I said, you know what? I said of my 13 seasons, one of my most favorite seasons was when we were 3-7. And he kind of looked at me and rolled his eyes and said, listen, I found more out about myself, about our players, about our program in general, and about our parents and community. You find out who's really loves you because they love you because of who you are and what you stand for, as opposed they only love you when you're winning. And that means a lot, and we did it with not a whole lot of talent, but a lot of energy. And I was really proud of my coaching staff. I'm not kidding you, Greg. We would sit down and think and scratch and claw, figure out just how to win a game. And I see some other staffs kind of throwing in the towel and getting in and out of practice. I mean, it wasn't that; it was far from that. So it was at that moment that I realized how special our coaching staff was. So I wouldn't trade that year for anything. I really wouldn't.
There you go, Andy Olds, head coach of the Kings Knights, who are going to be one of the favorites in Division II, Region 8 in 2011. I'm Greg Shoemaker for TriStateFootball.com and QueenCityHigh.com.